Hi, this is Sarah Fennick. Welcome to CNR News Club Headlines, where we report the news that's making changes and feature blogs that are making a difference. In the wake of the recent terrorist attacks by ISIS, it's important to write more about peace and spread the word for tolerance and understanding between world cultures. Peace activists are welcome to join CyprusNewsReport.com and start blogging about their expertise and make a difference by keeping the faith that war and terrorism are not the way for humanity to go forward. Go to www.CyprusNewsReport.com to start your blog or contact me direct by emailing sarah@CyprusNewsReport.com. And now for the main news. Turkey said it shot down a Russian Su-24 warplane near the border of Syria because it was violating its airspace. Russia denied that the plane was in Turkish airspace and said it was searching for the pilots. This incident brings Turkey in direct and dangerous confrontation with Russia's military operations against ISIS in Syria. In the wake of the major terrorist attacks in France and Mali, the authorities have arrested and deported back to Switzerland 6 francophone men suspected of being jihadists and are investigating a bomb threat in Limassol port amid redoubled air and sea strikes against ISIS in Syria by France and Russia. 5 of the suspects taken into custody at Larnaca airport are from Turkey and 1 is from Algeria. President Nicos Anastasiades and Turkish-Cypriot leader Mustafa Akinci said jointly that they stand together against racism and hatred in the wake of several violent episodes by extremists during protests against the unilaterally declared TRNC in Nicosia on November 16th. Russia's high command has launched a massive attack on ISIS forces in Syria, and one of the strategic points is the Moskva missile cruiser in the Eastern Mediterranean, which is supporting France in the intensified war on ISIS triggered by the terrorist attacks on Paris. There are no easy answers in the fight against ISIS terrorists, said German Foreign Minister Frank-Walter Steinmeier after a full-day meeting in Cyprus on November 17th with Foreign Minister Ionas Nicolaou. President Nicos Anastasiades and Turkish-Cypriot leader Mustafa Akinci said jointly that they stand together against racism and hatred in the wake of several violent episodes by extremists during protests against unilaterally declared TRNC in Nicosia on November 16th. 9 people, 4 of them students aged 16 to 19, have been arrested as suspects in the attacks and face charges of inciting racism and xenophobia. In the wake of several terrorist attacks by ISIS, there is no information about terrorist threats against Cyprus, but the authorities are being proactive in maintaining a high level of security, said Justice Minister Ionas Nicolaou. Since the deadly Paris terrorist attacks on November 13th, the authorities have added new security measures and are reviewing the existing ones, said the minister. Russia's high command has launched a massive attack on ISIS forces in Syria, and one of the strategic points is the Moskva missile cruiser in the Eastern Mediterranean, which is supporting France in the intensified war on ISIS triggered by the terrorist attacks on Paris. President Vladimir Putin has ordered the Moskva to cooperate with French warships en route to the Eastern Mediterranean. The Moskva docked in Limassol port on November 17th, launching cruise missiles on the same night against ISIS targets in Raqqa. The increase in Russian hostilities against ISIS comes after confirmation that a Russian commercial aircraft was destroyed over Egypt by a 1-kilogram bomb made out of TNT that was loaded on board with the rest of the luggage. The recent events have changed the nature of the war in Syria, focusing it on the international war against terror. Terrorist movements have also changed their nature, becoming more coordinated, as the last 3 terrorist attacks come within 2 weeks of each other in Egypt, Lebanon and France. It appears that ISIS has formed a coalition of terrorist groups in Afghanistan, Nigeria, Syria and Iraq that is well funded and led by the most dreadful of sociopaths, those willing to attack unarmed people and spread fear and confusion. There are no easy answers in the fight against ISIS terrorists, said German Foreign Minister Frank-Walter Steinmeier after a full-day meeting in Cyprus on November 17th with Foreign Minister Ioannis Nicolaou. Asked whether Germany supports a grand European military coalition to fight ISIS, Steinmeier said that the EU backs the Peshmerga fighters in northern Iraq and that this is the right strategy because they are maintaining the front line and making some territorial gains. The situation is further complicated by the system of alliances and enmities in the region. The Peshmerga are part of the Kurds in Iraq. Meanwhile, the Kurds living on the border between Turkey and the ISIS stronghold Raqqa are simultaneously fighting with Turkish forces and ISIS forces. As the US and Turkey are NATO allies, there is a conflict of interest between Europe's support of the Kurds and Turkey's war against them. Nonetheless, one thing is for sure, the security authorities need more close cooperation to reduce the risk of terrorist attacks in the future, said Steinmeier. We have to see between 2 margins. One is the compassionate and humanitarian nature of the EU and their societies, but on the other hand is the need to guard our borders and not allow people to abuse our compassionate nature, said the German Foreign Minister. Thanks for watching CNR News Club headlines. Please follow us on Twitter and Facebook. You'll see the links on your screen or just search for cyprusnewsreport.com. You're more than welcome to join CNR News Club and start your own blog. Visit www.cyprusnewsreport.com to learn more. That's all she wrote for this week. Goodbye for now.